Welcome students. In this video lecture, I will explain about the hemodynamics. Hemo means it is pertaining to the blood and dynamics. It is related to the movement of the blood in the circulation. So hemodynamic, it deals with the movement of the blood in the circulation and all the physical principles related to it. The cardiovascular system, it contains heart as well as the circulatory system. Now heart is the central pump and it pumps blood into the circulatory system. Now the circulatory system, it can be further divided in two parts, pulmonary circulation as well as the systemic circulation. The function of the circulatory system is that it transports blood to the tissues where actually exchange of the gases as well as the nutrient takes place. Now the circulatory system, it contains different parts. Aorta is the large elastic artery from which small branches emerge. They are known as artery. Further, the arteries, small arterioles, they emerge, and arterioles, they provide blood to the capillaries. At the level of the capillary, exchange occurs at the level of the tissues. From the capillaries, blood enters in the venules, in the veins, and in the great vessels or the inferior and the superior vena cava. And again, the blood returns to the heart. Now, all this portion of the circulatory system, they have different characteristic. They have different dimension, thickness, as well as the elasticity. All these factors, they greatly influence the flow of the blood, and the blood flow, it is also influenced by composition as well as the rheological property of the blood. So the blood in the circulation, it is influenced by many physiochemical factors, and in this lecture we will understand all these physiochemical factors affecting the blood circulation. So here you can see all the learning objectives of this lecture. So you can expect to learn all these topics from this lecture. For example, elastic reservoir vessels or the great vessels like aorta and its effect on the blood circulation, muscular vessels or the resistant vessels. Resistance vessels, they are the arterioles and the precapillary resistance vessel and its effect on the circulation, cross-sectional area and its relation with the blood flow, and the capacitance vessels like venous circulation. And then I will explain about the relationship between the pressure, flow and the resistance, that is the Ohm's law. Different types of the blood flow like the laminar as well as the turbulent flow. Poiseuille's law, which shows relationship between the resistance, viscosity and the radius of the blood vessel. Law of the Laplace, which shows relationship between the tension, pressure and the radius, as well as the Bernoulli principle, which shows relationship between the pressure and the velocity. So in this video lecture, I will explain all the topics. All these topics, they are frequently asked in your theory exam. It is also frequently asked question in various pre-PG exam as MCQs. So this is a very important topic and try to understand all the fundamentals related to the circulation of the blood. First of all, understand about the Wind-Kessel vessel or elastic reservoir. So after the ejection of the blood from the heart into the circulatory system, blood enters inside the large elastic vessel aorta and it acts as an elastic reservoir and it is known as Wind-Kessel vessel. Now try to understand the Wind-Kessel vessel and Wind-Kessel effect by the given figure. So here we can see the heart and pumping of the blood inside the great vessel. Now condition of the flow of the blood in the great vessels during the systole as well as during the diastole. First of all, during the systole, because of the opening of the semilunar valve, blood flows into the great vessels. Now the great vessels, it contain more amount of the elastic tissue in their wall, and because of the presence of the elastic tissue, the compliance of the large elastic vessel it is more, and because of the more amount of the compliance, elasticity or the stretchability of the great vessel is high. So whenever blood it is ejected into the great vessels, the great vessel they are stretched or they expand. Now during the diastole, blood flow from the heart into the great vessel it is stopped because of the closure of the semilunar valve. Now during this phase, expanded or the stretched elastic wall they again recall back to its normal position. So during this phase, it provides pressure on the blood which is remaining in the inside the vessel to move forward. So during the systole, because of the movement of the blood from the heart inside the great vessel, blood is propelled, and during the diastole, because of this recalling of the great vessels, blood moves forward. So because of this effect, blood moves in the great vessels towards the peripheral circulation during the systole as well as during the diastole. And this effect is known as Wind-Kessel effect, and because great vessels they exert this effect because of the elasticity which is present in their wall. These vessels they are known as Wind-Kessel vessels. Wind-Kessel effect, it prevents sudden increase in the systolic pressure and it also promotes diastolic flow. In the some pathological condition affecting the vessel wall which decreases the elastic tissue because of the degeneration in the wall of the vessel or increase in the deposition of the calcium inside the vessel, it results in the decrease in the elasticity or increase in the stiffness. So whenever stiffness of the wall increases either because of the pathological condition or with the increase in the age, it results in the increase in the systolic pressure as well as the decrease in the diastolic flow. Systolic pressure increases because of the decrease in the elasticity and decrease in the stretching of the Wind-Kessel vessel, and diastolic flow decreases because of the less stretchability of the blood vessel. Now let's understand about the resistance vessel, also known as muscular vessels. So this resistance vessel or the muscular vessels, these are the vessels which offer resistance to the blood flow towards the capillaries, and they are also known as precapillary resistance vessel. And these vessels they are arterioles, meta-arterioles and the precapillary sphincters. So arteriole, meta-arteriole and the precapillary sphincters they are together known as precapillary resistance vessels, and they offer resistance to the blood flow towards the capillaries. The arterioles are the last small branches of the arterial system. Here, look at this figure. We can see the heart as a central pump and it pumps blood into the circulatory system. So from the heart, blood enters inside the large great elastic vessels like aorta. From the aorta, blood enters inside the large artery as well as the small branches of the large artery. These are the smaller arteries. They are useful for the distribution purpose. From the small artery, blood enters inside the arterioles, meta-arterioles and the precapillary resistance vessels. Now from this vessel blood enters inside the capillaries, and capillaries they are the exchange vessels. From the capillaries blood enters inside the venules, vein, and then lastly the blood enters inside the great vessels like the vena cava and blood returns to the heart. So these are the capacitance vessel. So arteriole, meta-arteriole and the precapillary sphincters, these are the resistance vessels, and these are the control conduits through which the blood it is released into the capillaries. They can alter the blood flow in each tissue in response to its needs. All these precapillary resistance vessels, particularly the arterioles, they are the chief site of the vascular resistance. This vascular resistance is mainly because of the presence of the more amount of the smooth muscle and less amount of the elastic tissue in their walls. Because these vessels they contain more amount of the smooth muscle, so these vessels they are also known as muscular vessels. All these vessels they are richly innervated by the sympathetic noradrenergic nerve fibers. So sympathetic overactivity it produces vasoconstriction and it increases peripheral resistance, and decrease in the sympathetic activity it increases the diameter of this vessel, and with a change in the diameter of these vessels they act as a control conduits and they regulate the blood flow which flows towards the capillaries and the tissues. Meta-arterioles and the precapillary sphincters, they determine the size of the capillary exchange area. Opening of the precapillary sphincter increases the number of the open capillaries and increases the exchange of the gases as well as the nutrients in the tissues. Meta-arterioles and the precapillary sphincters, they are mainly regulated by the neurogenic factors and the local factors. Neurogenic factors mainly by the sympathetic vasoconstrictor nerves, and the local factors they are local constrictors as well as the local dilator factors. Local constrictor factors like the release of the serotonin and the decrease in the temperature or the exposure to the cold, it produces constriction of the meta-arterioles and the precapillary sphincters. Hypoxia, hypercapnia, acidosis, potassium and adenosine. These are the local dilators. So whenever hypoxia occurs or the hypercapnia occurs in the tissues, it leads to dilatation of the meta-arterioles and the precapillary sphincters which increases blood flow towards the tissues. Exchange vessels. These are the vessels through which exchange of the gases as well as the nutrients takes place. Capillaries, these are the exchange vessels in our body. Exchange vessel, they allow easy exchange of the gases and the nutritive substances across them. Now, this exchange is possible because these vessels they contain only single layer of the endothelial cells. In our resting condition, only 25% of the capillaries they are open, and our vital organs like heart, brain, liver, kidney and lung, they possess a dense capillary network. Blood flow to the capillaries, it is not regulated by the neural or the metabolic factors. Blood flow in the capillaries, it is mainly regulated by precapillary resistance vessels like arteriole, meta-arteriole and the precapillary sphincters. So whenever precapillary sphincters they are open or the dilated, it allows more amount of the blood flow in the capillaries, and more amount of the capillaries they are open, it leads to more exchange of the gases and the nutritive substances across them. Thoroughfare channels. Thoroughfare channels, these are the vessels which bypasses capillaries. Now here in this figure we can see arterioles, meta-arterioles and the precapillary sphincters. All these vessels they are known as precapillary resistance vessels or the muscular vessels. These are the vessels with the chief site of the vascular resistance and they regulate blood flow inside the capillaries. Now here we can see the arteriovenous bypass or the thoroughfare channel, and it allows blood flow from the arterioles to the venules. So they are also known as arteriovenous shunts. Now these thoroughfare channels they are present in the skin, toes, fingers, palms, earlobes and lips. Whenever our body temperature is normal, during these times all these thoroughfare channels they are kept closed by the sympathetic constrictor nerves. Now these thoroughfare channel, they are particularly useful during the thermal stress. During the thermal stress, all these arteriovenous bypasses or the thoroughfare channel, they open and they allow blood flow from the arteriole to the venules, and it is helpful for the heat loss during the thermal stress. So always remember that the thoroughfare channel, they are helpful for the dissipation of the heat during the thermal stress. Now few MCQs about all these topics. The first MCQ, chief site of the vascular resistance are, options are arteries, arterioles, capillaries and the venule. So the chief site of the vascular resistance, they are the precapillary resistance vessels like arterioles, meta-arterioles and the precapillary sphincters. So from all the given option, the most appropriate answer is the arterioles. So the chief site of the vascular resistance, they are the arterioles. Windkessel effect is seen in. So Windkessel effect, it is because of the stretchability or the compliance of the great vessels, and because of this compliance the blood flows in the circulation during the systole as well as the diastole. So the Windkessel effect is seen in large elastic vessels like aorta. Now the clinical importance of the Windkessel effect is, because of the Windkessel effect blood flows in the circulation during the systole and the diastole. If the Windkessel effect it is not present, then the blood flows in our circulation intermittently. But it is not the case because of the presence of the stretching or the elasticity of the great vessel, which exerts pressure over the blood which is present inside the great vessel, and it propels the blood to move forward. So blood flows constantly during the systole as well as during the diastole in our circulation, and this effect it is known as Windkessel effect. So always remember that Windkessel effect is seen in large elastic vessels.